Hi, my name is Saad, and this is the second video of this course. And in this video, I'm going to give you an overview of the topics that we're going to cover. So I'd like you to not only get an idea of what's coming down the pike, but if you identify topics that are missing or that you would like me to cover, please let me know. Either send me an email or just put comments below the video. So let's get started. So we've split real estate data analytics into three subjects: data management, data analysis, and value and impact. And you've seen this diagram before. This was provided as a PDF that you could download with the first video of this course. If you don't have this and you want to use it as a reference, just let me know and I'll send it to you. So this handout also will give you a preview of what are the topics that we're going to cover, and I'm going to go into a little bit of detail in each of these to explain what these are. So data management consists of the systems where the data sits, the source systems, data extraction, and data storage. In data analysis, we're going to look at data models, and this is a term you might not know, so I'm going to introduce the term, and then dashboard development, and then also look at things from the point of view of two types of users: the data analysts, which might be you, and the dashboard users, and what their user experience and what tools are appropriate for them. We're going to talk about generating ideas and insights, action plans for acting on those insights, and then the KPIs and the outcomes. So that was a 2-minute introduction. And in the rest of this video, I'm going to go into each of the topics that are in this diagram and just give you a preview of what to expect. So please keep an eye out on topics that you're interested in learning and let me know if I missed anything. So let's get started. So in this lesson, what I'm going to cover is every company is using systems such as these. You've got a lot of data sitting in one of these systems, and you've also got your acquisition data, your underwriting assumptions, your performance sitting in Excel files. And so this is a starting point for where data comes from that you'll be using in your data analysis. And some other things to take into account is, first of all, where is the data sitting? Which systems is it in, and where does it need to be pulled from? And is it usable? Because if the system's not being used properly, then the data is probably not useful. And you'll have to address that first before you can do any meaningful data analysis. And then, are you going to be pulling data from one system, or are you going to be pulling the data from multiple systems? And what are the considerations? What are the best practices? How do you need to organize the data in the sources before you can actually use it for data analysis? The next topic is data extraction, which is essentially pulling data out of the systems. So depending upon the nature of the data and the system itself, there are different ways to extract the data. Either some systems have an API, and you can pull data out through the API, and I'll even introduce what an API is. And then exporting data to Excel, which I think all of you are used to. And then in some cases, it's also possible to directly connect to the database of the system and pull data out for analysis. So I'll cover all of these topics in that lesson. And the things that you have to take into account, I'll also cover that and make recommendations on what's the best way to go about that. The next and the final topic in data management is going to be data storage. So data storage really is about where do you put your data so that you can start doing the analysis on it. You're probably already using Excel sheets. You can use SQL databases. Some of the considerations that you'll have to make are whether you put all your data on the cloud or do you store it in-house on-prem. And so I'll walk you through these different options and what the pros and cons are of these. And then companies that actually have are doing really well with their data analytics also have a data warehouse. So I'm going to introduce what a data warehouse is and how companies use it and what it takes to get one. After data management comes lessons on data analysis. And data analysis in plain English, all it means is finding useful information in all that data that you have. So, what's an example of useful information? If you know that your rent collection rate has fallen, that's useful information. If you know how many leads you need to get one lease, that's very useful information. If your advertising spend has gone up, but the number of leads generated hasn't, that means that's useful information to act upon. And that's the whole purpose of analyzing your data, to uncover useful information that you can apply to either the operations or to future deals. So the first topic in this is data models. Um, you probably, if you've got these Excel files where you've got the VLOOKUPs, you're already creating data models, but you're just not calling them data models. Data models are essentially joining different data sets together to do some type of analysis. And in the lesson on data models, I'm going to be covering these joins. So for example, here is um, a data model for collections. And as you can see, you have to join different types of data sets together so that you have the columns that you want. So I'm going to introduce the different concepts behind data models and how different tools help you join different data sets together. And there end up being many different data models depending on the analysis you want. For example, for analyzing collections, for analyzing economic occupancy, analyzing make-ready performance, leasing velocity, you combine different data sets together, join on different columns, and create different data models. So the next lesson in data analysis is dashboard development. And what do I mean by a dashboard? For the purpose of this, a dashboard can be anything where you're presenting data. So for example, you're presenting data in pivot tables, the traditional dashboards, scorecards, reports, even data extracts, where you've summarized information and you are presenting it. Let's call that a dashboard for now. And so these are examples of what dashboards could look like, but it's anything else that just communicates useful information. So what we're going to cover in this lesson are a couple of tools that are the leading products on the market, Power BI and Tableau. And I'm going to give you an introduction to what these are and how they work. So for example, this is the collections dashboard that's being developed in Power BI. And in this lesson on dashboard development, I'm actually going to give you a video demo of how to build this collections dashboard. This next picture is the collections dashboard being built in Tableau. And I'll also give you a demo of this as well. The developer experience is different in both the tools. So we're also going to cover in that lesson some of the things like which there are there are probably about 100 tools that you could use to develop dashboards. So what are some of them? What are the features, costs, and then things that you should look at both from the user experience of the data analyst, the person who's going to be building these dashboards, as well as the viewer or the person who's going to be consuming the information in these dashboards. So the next topic is the data analyst. And that might be you. A data analyst is somebody who is either, exploring data, analyzing data, understanding it, trying to find meaningful information in the data. You may not have the job title of data analyst, but if that's what you do, you're a data analyst. So in this lesson, what we're going to do is look at things from a data analyst point of view. What are the relevant skills that they need to know? Most of you already know Excel really well, but there's some other things as well. Some of the things that we're going to cover in this course. And in this lesson, I'm going to introduce some of the other ideas that'll be really good for career advancement and growth. And then also identify what are some of the tools and resources that a data analyst should have access to in order to thrive in this role and to be able to produce really useful insights from the data. Another lesson in data analysis is going to be the person who's actually going to use the dashboard or the dashboard viewer. Now, these people are different from the data analyst. They don't have an interest in a lot of the detail. What they really just need to know is, how are things going? Is everything okay? Do I need to act? Do I need to take any corrective action? Who do I need to call? What action do they need to take? If all they need to know by looking at your dashboard, they should be able to tell, oh, we have a problem in collections. Who do I call? What do I tell them? When do they need to take action? So when it comes to the dashboard viewers, you also have to take into account what their experience is, given how much information they need and what they're looking for. And there's a way to decide what will be useful and what will be useless to them, because they don't need a lot of information and they only want relevant information. So there are best practices for designing dashboards that display only the relevant actionable information. And then we'll also address adoption, because a lot of the dashboards that you roll out, the intended users won't necessarily embrace them right away. So you have to take into account their mindset, their situation, so that you can achieve the most amount of success, that people actually use the things that you're going to be building. Now, the third part of our Real Estate Data Analytics 101 course is value and impact. And in this, we have three topics: ideas and insights, action plans, and KPIs and outcomes. So, what do we mean by ideas and insights? I mean, that's the whole purpose of analyzing your data and trying to figure out what's going on. And the examples are, if you found out that it takes 30 leads to get one lease, that's a ratio that is very valuable to your company, because now your leadership team can use that number to decide what kind of resources they can allocate to achieve their leasing target. Uh, Patterns, if you can uncover that, oops, collections is going up, or collections efficiency is going down, or vacancy loss is increasing, trends like that, or service tickets really go up in December, and you run out of uh, technicians to respond to them. Okay, that is useful information that needs to be uncovered. And benchmarks. How do you define a well-managed property versus a so-so property? How do you identify whether a community manager is doing well on their collections or they're not? Those are benchmarks. So those are really the things that you need to identify and capture and distribute in the company, so that they can be used to making future decisions. Essentially, these are the secret sauce for your business. Because now, if your business has been running for a while, there's a lot of historical data that can be analyzed to determine, how things work. How effectively do you convert leads to leases? How long does it take to make ready a unit? How much does it cost? How long do service tickets stay open? Things like that are really very useful for deciding where to spend time and energy to make things better. So that's what we're going to cover in the lesson on ideas and insights. The next is action plans. So you've uncovered a lot of information. Now you got to take action on it. If you want to improve your collections, if you want to improve your make ready performance, if you want to get better at leasing, those are things that it would be wonderful if there was a light switch and you could turn that on, but it doesn't exist. So these things have to be planned. They have to be prioritized. People, resources have to be allocated to them. In many cases, the data might not even exist. For example, if one of the goals is to improve the time service tickets stay open, but people aren't even entering uh, in the ticketing system when a ticket gets closed, it's going to be very hard to make any improvements. So first, that has to be fixed. So things like that go into action plans. So action plans consist of your analytics roadmap that identifies what kind of projects you're going to work on when, and what's the priority for them. Your action plan also has to take into account the pushback that you should expect. Um, these ideas introduce change into an organization, and all change is going to be met with resistance. So anticipate it, and anticipate the pushback in part of your action plan, and have a plan for dealing with it. And then you also have to deal with inertia, because most people just like to keep working the way they're working, and there's a tendency to not embrace any change. And so your action plan should also address how you're going to be dealing with the inertia. And the last topic we're going to cover in this course is KPIs and outcomes. I want to make an assumption that your company already has a strategy. You already have a business strategy, you have an investment thesis, you've got some strategic goals, and your company has an operating system. The way to set short term goals, to measure progress towards those goals, to prioritize what needs to be done first, and so on. If these things are already in place, then you're going to be very successful in your data analytics program. If these things don't exist, then your data and analytics can help create the incentive to put these things together, to create an operating system, to start looking at metrics, and to measure progress towards targets. Defining KPIs, what are the KPIs that one should focus on? It's possible to have too many, and so on. And then how to measure impact. Your company is going to allocate money. They're going to have people, data analysts on their payroll. They're going to incur a lot of expense. There needs to be a way also of measuring what kind of impact is being data driven having on the outcomes that are being produced. So hopefully this has been a useful overview of what to expect in this real estate data analytics 101 course. If there are topics that you didn't see that you want to see, please get in touch and let me know about it. I would appreciate it if you could let your friends and peers in real estate know about this course. Here's the URL. And yeah, please send me your feedback. Either comment at the bottom of this video or just shoot me an email. And we also send out surveys. I would really appreciate it if you could fill out a survey and let us know what you thought. And please subscribe to our the RentViewer YouTube channel, and then follow RentViewer on LinkedIn as well. Thank you, and I look forward to talking to you. Please get in touch if you have any questions.